All right, the court finds you in contempt of court.
Me?
I'm going to sentence you to 10 days in the county jail. I'm going to remand you to the custody of the sheriff.
What?
Now to Loudoun County, where a judge came under fire this week for jailing a woman testifying in her own domestic violence trial after she admitted to smoking marijuana. The judge has now rejected the woman's attempt to remove the order without a hearing and without reading her brief. Fox 5's Katie Barlow now in the newsroom tonight with what this means for the case. Katie?
Katie Orndoff spent over an hour testifying about allegations of domestic violence and that her partner punched her twice in the face when this happened.
You just testified that you, prior to coming to court today, before you got in the car, you smoked marijuana. Is that correct? All right. All right, the court finds you in contempt of court.
Me?
I'm going to sentence you to 10 days in the county jail. I'm going to remand you to the custody
Me?
of the sheriff.
What?
We're going to take a recess at this time, and we're going to hear a legal argument when we come back.
Oh my God! I didn't even do anything.
Fisher said Orndoff appeared impaired. But as we reported earlier this week, both Orndoff's lawyers and the county prosecutor's office said multiple witnesses refuted the judge's assertions. The witnesses say they saw her before her testimony and she appeared normal. Orndoff filed a motion with the judge to get rid of the contempt order, saying the judge violated her constitutional right to due process and should have read her Miranda rights before remanding her to police custody.
The standard for contempt is that you have to engage in behavior that actually obstructs the court, and you have to intend to do that. He indicated there was no intent, or he didn't find any intent. If there's no intent, then there can't be any contempt.
But before her lawyer submitted her brief, laying out her reasoning, the judge denied the motion outright, calling it wholly without merit. Part of the judge's reasoning is that she already appealed the contempt order to the Virginia Court of Appeals, so it's out of his hands. But Rule 1.1 of the Virginia Rules of the Supreme Court actually says he has 21 days to modify or get rid of the order. Orndoff's case raises concerns for some lawyers about how judges handle domestic violence cases more generally.
And something that we work really hard to educate judges about is this idea of how the brain responds to trauma, and the fact that a lot of victims are not going to be telling their story in a perfectly linear manner. They're going to have lapses of memory. They're going to have, circuitous kind of conversations sometimes, and that's very, very normal. And we try and educate the court best we can.
The judge has also declared a mistrial in the case against the woman's partner. Now, prosecutors are unsure if they'll be able to bring the case again, in part because they're unsure if she'll be willing to testify after all of this. Now, Orndoff's lawyers are concerned the judge's order does not reflect the facts as you see them on the video. And there's a broader concern that these decisions will reflect negatively on the integrity of the court system. Her lawyers are considering a motion asking him to reconsider again, but that decision, they haven't made a final call. Now, Judge Fisher did not respond to Fox 5's request for comment, and the court chief of staff sent this statement to Fox 5 saying, please understand a presiding judge is not ethically permitted to comment on a pending case. Back to you.
Katie, for clarity here, because you see the deputy stand behind her as if he's about to arrest her. Did she go to jail, and how long was she there for if she did?
She did. She was remanded immediately into police custody. She was sentenced to 10 days in jail. She spent 2 of those days in jail, and she's out on an appeal bond right now while all of this is still pending. But she did spend time in jail.
I think this guy may have a problem with women.
Protesters at the Leesburg courthouse, including a Virginia state delegate whose own sister was murdered, demanding that Circuit Court Judge James Fisher be kicked off the bench.
This is a lawless man. He is unqualified.
Katie Orndoff came to court earlier this month to testify that her former partner had punched her twice in the face, leaving her bloodied and battered. Prosecutors say he's a repeat offender. Judge Fisher decided she was intoxicated on marijuana, ordered her dragged from the stand, sent to jail, and blood tested.
I don't even know. What is that?
Not only did I suffer abuse by my significant other, but I was punished for testifying.
The protest organizer was almost in tears as she read a statement from Orndoff.
I have learned that it does no good to report domestic abuse because the system and the courts appear to have no real interest in protecting victims and punishing abusers.
Through his chief of staff here, Judge Fisher declined to comment, saying speaking on a pending matter would violate the judicial canons of ethics. But on Wednesday, he refused to even hear a motion to quash his contempt judgment by a lawyer who is now representing Orndoff for free.
It's not easy to testify.
The case against Orndoff's partner ended in mistrial, and Commonwealth's attorney Buddha Bibarai says she may never get justice, like many other victims.
Near impossible to try because of what has occurred.
And if that violent criminal, who should have been convicted but can't be because of the judge's conduct, goes out and harms another person, well, that person's blood is on this judge's hands.
In Leesburg, Bruce LaShan, WUSA 9.